I'm Carol Laufer, and I would like to give you a retrospective on liability starting in 2009 to talk about the reptile theory. The reptile theory involves an idea of safety, and when plaintiff attorneys are presenting a case, they are trying to make the jurors think about their own safety and be very concerned, focused on the case at hand, and imagine themselves in that situation. Their goal as jurors is to consider safety around the case, but they're really thinking about themselves and how they insist upon a safe world to live in. If we go back to 2007, there were many California wildfires, and a great deal of liability came out of that, whether it was for utility companies or tree trimmers. But that was the beginning of very severe liability that cost hundreds of millions of dollars. In 2008, the United States experienced a recession, and during that recessionary time, there were fewer cars on the road because there was so much unemployment. In 2009, there were about 3,000 fatal truck accidents in the United States. 10 years later, in 2019, that number was close to 5,000 fatal truck accidents. So what happened between 2009 and 2019? Well, people started to order over the internet, and the trucks had to deliver those goods, and there were more and more deliveries. And then, if you go to 2011, only 35% of adults had smartphones. And there was some distracted driving. But 10 years later, in 2021, 85% of adults in the United States had smartphones. And that also increased the vehicle accidents. And when those cases went to court, the reptile theory was used, and that began to push up the jury verdicts. From 2015 to 2018, there were a number of mergers and acquisitions in the liability insurance market. There was decreased supply once these companies merged because there were so many limits on the towers that the companies that merged decided to decrease the limits that they were putting out on a single corporation. And demand was increasing because there were fewer and fewer limits, and hence price was also increasing. And that created the hard market in 2019. There's a lot of discussion about litigation funding, but it's not actually new. Litigation funding began around 1990 in Australia, and more recently, it's been in the United States. The way that it works is that plaintiff lawyers have cases, and in certain cases, they get investors to help them with the costs of the case so that they can see the case all the way through. Their goal is to get a large jury verdict. The size of that could be the annual salary of a famous athlete, it could be a winning lottery ticket, but it's far outsized from what jury verdicts used to be. Defense attorneys are working to combat the reptile theory and litigation funding, but it is a new layer within these lawsuits that we're seeing lately, and it does drive up the jury verdicts, and that increases the pricing of the hard market. We'll have to see the trajectory of lawsuits. But these are new developments that have to be considered in a very litigious climate in the United States. As the economy evolves and businesses change, Allianz is ready to underwrite its way through risks, consider these changes, and offer options for our clients and our future clients